Hello YouTube, this is Morgan, Airspeed Prime here at my next Airspeed Reads Naruto video. This one's going to be for volume 37 of the manga, which is called Shikamaru's Battle. Really nice cover this time out, includes a lot of the characters involved here. You know, Asuma obviously died last volume, he's kind of there in memory here as his team's going forward. Kakashi's got a bigger role in this volume as well as he enters that side of the story, and then Naruto there because his big moment's obviously coming up. So I think this cover is one of the more fitting ones for the volume so far. There's the kind of little back image there, just kind of height comparison between old Naruto and new Naruto. But anyway, this volume, number 37, features another 10 chapters, 330 to 339. The heartbreaking notice. Cell number 10 sets out Shikamaru's battle, affinities, the black metamorphosis, the fearsome secret, turnabout dilemma, Shikamaru's genius, payback, and the new jutsu. So overall, really good volume once again. Most of the volume is the fight, the second fight. We don't quite finish it, but obviously we do see the end of Hidan, which is quite nice. But Kakuzu is still obviously out there, but as far as what's set up right now, Naruto is going to take him out next volume with his new attack. So we have some minor setup, in that ultimately it is a fairly minor section of this volume. But there's a few important scenes with Naruto doing the final stages of his training, with Yamato then arriving onto the battlefield. But as I said, the main focus is on the battle, and it's really, really well done. Anytime Shikamaru is involved in the battle, especially now that he's kind of more of a team leader character, as opposed to like part 1 where it's very much one-on-one battles, he adds this amazing dynamic to any fight he's involved in. It means you can actually have the enemy have more complex abilities that need explanation, and he's the perfect character to kind of figure them out and explain them so that our characters aren't just confused by these weird powers. So that's what he adds here, and then especially having Kakashi here as well, it's just really some really important characters involved here, and it makes the fight feel really big. You know, Ino and Choji do feel like they maybe don't have as much to do, but in terms of the whole Team 10 thing, Team Asuma, it's very fitting, I think, overall. So let's get into some specifics. So we obviously start up this with the first chapter, and it's more focused on kind of just informing, you know, Tsunade, then Kurenai, and then you see a little bit of the funeral, and also Konohamaru, that Asuma has been killed. And it is, you know, quite emotional. Ultimately, they don't spend a ton of time on it. This is one thing I do feel the anime did a little bit better, is that it really emphasized the emotion of Asuma's death a little bit more. It's obviously present here as this whole volume is about a quest for revenge, basically, to defeat Hidan and Kakuzu, who killed Asuma. It feels bigger in the anime because they focus more on the Kurenai-Asuma relationship and I suppose the impact of his death. It's here for sure, but it's not as big as it could and should be. We find out what exactly Naruto was planning to do with regards to the whole look left and right thing. He seems to be on the right track and progress on his new technique by having 3 basically versions of himself involved in making this new technique. Basically 2 for the Rasengan, the other to add the wind nature. And he has this kind of triple pose, and that's how he's going to make his new jutsu. So that's kind of Naruto's new battle formation thing. So that's pretty cool setup. And basically this is when they're told that Asuma's been killed, we get the funeral. And then after that we just see Shikamaru kind of moping around, but ultimately planning, and you see him gradually get together, and he gets Ino and Choji, and they go to leave the village, and they're stopped by Tsunade, and she doesn't want to let them go, because she thinks basically they're just going to go out and get themselves killed, and she's not happy with them going out on their own. Kakashi ultimately accepts the fact that if we just tell them to leave, they go back into the village, they're just going to leave anyway. Why don't you authorize this mission? I will be their team leader, and I will help them accomplish this goal. And Tsunade agrees to this. It kind of highlights how trusted Kakashi is within the village, that she trusts him to be able to keep, you know, 3 characters who are very emotional right now, this mission for revenge, that he can keep them together. And I think the role he plays throughout this volume is actually quite interesting in that Shikamaru basically leads the team. He's already come up with a plan. He informs Kakashi. He uses Kakashi as a member of his team, and Kakashi doesn't really alter things. It's very clear to see that as much as Shikamaru wants revenge, he's not like obsessed with it. It's not like a Sasuke style revenge. He's just like, no, I'm going to take revenge, but I'm going to do it in a thoughtful and intelligent way, and not, get myself killed just trying to do this. So that works. Tsunade is informed by Sakura how Naruto's training is going, and we get this setup that they are going to send backup out to support Kakashi's team. They want it to be a team that works well with Team 10, so they want it to be what's left of Team 7, so Sakura, Sai, Yamato, and Naruto. They want those to be the ones who assist. But Tsunade is not happy with this until Naruto can confirm that he has perfected his new jutsu. So she gives him 24 hours to do this, and it's just this setup that, like, if anything goes wrong, there's the potential for Naruto to show up as we go forward. But basically, after some quick scenes setting up, like, how Hidan and Kakuzu are doing, where they are since killing Asuma, just this idea that they seal away, I think, the 3 tails and the 2 tails, more or less off screen. They cover it in like a panel or two, that this is what the Akatsuki have been doing during this time. Just establishing that a little bit of time has passed, but not all that much. It's only been like 1 or 2 days. Ino manages to quickly hunt them down, and we're basically back into the fight. I like that there's not a ton of setup. It's not like a journey to find them. It's just, most of it happens off screen. We found them. The battle is happening now. They haven't really moved too far from where they were. And the battle just begins. And I think straight away what I like about this is that they don't repeat stuff from the previous volume. So they don't feel the need to overly re-explain Hidan's powers. So they focus more on Kakuzu immediately, that they don't know a lot about him. They quickly get this idea that, okay, he can kind of harden his skin to be more defensive, and they're kind of more focused on kind of clearing Hidan out of the situation. But they do manage to basically get the initial strike in a really cool maneuver that's clearly been planned out. Shikamaru is using Asuma's chakra blades, and he uses them as a way to get a shadow connection to both Hidan and Kakuzu. And while this is happening, obviously Kakashi kind of appears out of nowhere, and Chidori's Kakuzu basically killing him, or so we think. And it's interesting because we get the explanation here of what Hidan's power, that Kakuzu's powers are, in that he has this unique body where he basically has 5 hearts, his own and then 4 others, which he explains he has taken from shinobis that he's defeated in battle. And so effectively, if he receives a killing blow, he can sacrifice one of those hearts so he himself doesn't die. He's just down a heart. Kind of as they say, I think Hidan calls the two of them the immortality duo, because obviously Kakuzu can basically take 4 killing blows without going down. Hidan obviously has basically, magical, religious kind of immortality. And so the two of them are the most kind of indestructible members of the Akatsuki. So that's pretty cool. We do get a little insert, basically, before this, of Yamato training Naruto, the final step. That's basically just that Naruto has to do this on his own, and Yamato wants to explain the final bit to him, just about like how the different chakra natures interact with each other. And we get this kind of wheel that just explains to us, like, this is superior to this one is weaker to this, and we just get it on the top panel of that page. The ones they emphasize are that fire beats wind and wind beats lightning. So Sasuke's fire attacks will have an advantage against Naruto, but Naruto's now having wind style has an advantage over Sasuke's Chidori. But what Naruto really takes from this is less the super effectiveness he has against Sasuke's most important attack, Chidori. He more emphasizes the idea that, my wind can actually power up his fire, because Yamato had explained to him the idea that when wind and fire interact, the flames get bigger. And that's what Naruto's taken from this. That just a little scene here, a bit removed from the last time we saw Sasuke, to confirm to us that Naruto is still aiming to get him back. Just a really nice little moment to get that. But yeah, the fight kind of continues, and we get this idea that the different hearts that Kakuzu has allows him to have all of the different chakra natures, basically. And because we've just got all this explanation about chakra natures, we have Kakuzu using the fact that he can basically take these hearts out of himself to create these kind of heart monsters that can die in his place. And he can basically use the 5 different chakra natures all at once, kind of combine them together if he has them like duo attack. And it's this idea that he's nothing overly special as like a one-on-one fighter, but because he has so many styles and he has this kind of unique body, that's what gives him the advantage. So, if it was just Kakashi against one of those kind of heart monsters, he'd win basically easily. But because Kakuzu can basically, do the whole, wind assisted by fire stuff and use all these crazy jutsus, Kakashi is at a bit of a disadvantage, especially because, Choji and Ino are definitely not the most powerful fighters here. Choji is good at kind of separating the fight because he can use his expansion jutsu, but they kind of explain that Ino can't really get involved in the fight because her speciality, the mind transfer jutsu, is not at all suited for this battle, which does make you question why she really got involved here, but it made sense for her to be there as part of the team. But yeah, after that we just get that, the fight is very focused on Kakashi. The two of them are aware that he is the most skilled member of the opposing team, and they kind of focus on him. He takes some damage, but he's still in the fight, and he's kind of trying to figure it out. He explains the whole idea that he's struggling with the combination of chakra natures that Kakuzu can use. Then comes the big moment in the fight. Shikamaru decides that I'm going to be the distraction, the diversion, distraction, and I will kill Hidan on my own. So he basically manages to trap Hidan in his shadow possession and then runs away with Hidan to a different section of the battlefield. And it's this interesting moment as they leave. Kakuzu is basically like, Shikamaru has really underestimated Hidan. He's going to die now because he's gone off one-on-one. You think this is a good move, splitting us up, but he won't be able to take him one-on-one. And all the time they're constantly referencing the fact that more than this has been planned out from Shikamaru's team beforehand. There's this whole blood vial thing that they've set up from before, and we kind of see that play out as we kind of get more focus on what's going on with Hidan and Kakuzu. So, Hidan and Shikamaru. So, where Shikamaru has brought Hidan is to this area in the woods that he's set up that has these kunai with wires, and along the wires are tons of explosive tags. And basically, the two of them are trapped in the middle of this kind of maze of wires and explosives. If any of them moves too much, they're going to blow up, basically. So he's limited the engagement area, Shikamaru, here, by trapping Hidan. And I like the way they kind of play Shikamaru here, in that he's clearly in control here, because he's brought him here for a reason. Hidan has yet to realize the magnitude of how far ahead Shikamaru has actually planned out. So he thinks he's brought me to this spot, he's set up a little bit of stuff, but I still have the advantage here because I'm naturally more powerful than Shikamaru. He breaks out of his shadow possession, and basically it seems like Shikamaru is about to be killed here because Hidan manages to kind of cut Shikamaru on the cheek, and we think it's going to play it the same way as Asuma did. Hidan's going to use his technique, stab himself and kill Shikamaru. But what ends up happening is that he does that, but one of Kakuzu's hearts dies, just as it has an advantage in the fight going on elsewhere. And the plan that was set up was that when Kakashi lightning bladed Kakuzu to destroy the first heart, what they had actually done is he'd taken a vial of his blood. Kakashi gave that to Shikamaru, and Shikamaru feigned getting cut and put Kakuzu's blood on Hidan's blade. So when Hidan ingested the blood, thinking with Shikamaru's, he actually did it to Kakuzu, and so the curse was on Kakuzu, and that's what happened here. And they kind of explain it, very easily, that like it only applies to one of the hearts, which is a little bit weird, but it makes sense, I think, more or less with how it plays out. And it's this idea that this alone kind of nullifies Hidan's ability, because if he attacks himself more to try and hurt someone, he's just going to hurt Kakuzu. So it basically forces Hidan, who's not a very good fighter, really, he can dodge, and he's got an interesting weapon, the whole triple scythe thing, but he's not overly powerful on his own. He doesn't use a lot of jutsu. It really nullifies that, and it requires Hidan to get Shikamaru's blood for sure. But obviously Shikamaru kind of gains the advantage here, and we basically get the death of Hidan in this scene. Shikamaru uses the full scale of what he's planned out to his advantage. He shadow possesses Hidan again, uses the shadows to pull all of the tags in the area onto Hidan, and then in this really nice emotional moment takes out Osuma's lighter and just chucks it at Hidan. He had previously opened up this giant kind of trench that hole he'd dug underground, and basically we just get this moment where he completely blows Hidan up. His remains fall into this giant hole, and he traps him there. Like, it's a super deep hole, so he knows Hidan is immortal, but if he's immortal, blown to bits, and trapped under, 20 feet of earth, he can't come out. He is just as good as dead. And the area that they're in is kind of owned/guarded over by the Nara clan, so Shikamaru's own clan, so no one is going to dig him up. So this is the end of Hidan, even though you can't 100% kill him. So as for the rest of the fight, some really interesting stuff happens here. The main thing here is obviously that Kakuzu's down to 3 hearts, but he still has the advantage because he's basically he's so powerful. But out of nowhere, basically, Yamato, Naruto, Sakura, and Sai arrive on the scene. Really cool moment as Naruto and Yamato team up for a wind-water style jutsu. It's called the Art of the Hurricane Vortex, and they kind of separate the fight basically here as they arrive on the scene. And they split up the group that Sai and Sakura go after Shikamaru to help him if he's injured, and everyone else is going to stay to fight Kakuzu. But Naruto takes over the fight. He says, "This is my chance to shine." And we get the reveal about what his technique actually is after we get the reasoning behind why Kakashi had a slightly injured arm heading into this mission. He wanted to test the wind-style Rasengan, which is the first wind-style move that Naruto learns, against the normal Rasengan, and basically take some damage to his arm. That's the most basic wind-style move Naruto has, and it still was so much more powerful than the Rasengan. And then we get what the actual move is, wind-style Rasen Shuriken, and it's a really crazy move. All of the reactions in the build-up to this are interesting as well. Everyone's like, "What's that humming noise?" And the anime does a really good job with the sound of showing this. It feels like a kind of chainsaw type thing almost effect. That it's this a really smoothly running chainsaw. It's just like spinning so fast that it's so dangerous, incredible cutting power, and we just end before this attack can even be used. And it's a really, really kind of incredible way to end the volume. These fight volumes are entertaining, but there's not a lot to analyze, hence why I felt like I was mainly just kind of recapping this. But there's a lot of good stuff. A lot of the stuff I pointed out was based on the fact that I was really engaged throughout this entire volume. The way they showcase the fights, the way they pace, Naruto training in the background and arriving on the scene, the Hidan Shikamaru stuff separated from the Kakuzu stuff, and then the plan coming back around. It's a really, really well written fight and volume overall, with still more to come, but not too much more. But yeah, volume 37, excellent volume. So I'm just going to end the video there by saying, if you want to follow me on social media, links to my Twitter and Tumblr are in the description below. If you want to help support my video so I can support my channel so I can make more videos, links to my Patreon page and my PayPal donation link are also in the description as well. That's been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.